Hey, this is Aaron,
And this is Kristen.
and this is the Drive Mode Show.
Hey, everybody. Today we are talking to Alice Chase and Nicole Wakelin, otherwise known as Wander Women, who are competing in the Rebelle Rally in just a few weeks in an Infiniti. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, it's great to be here.
We are excited to have you because we want to know all about the ins and outs of the Rebelle Rally. I'm so excited to hear more about it. So let's kick it off with our first question, and that is, how are you feeling right now?
Right this second. I'm nervous, but I'm like an excited nervous. I think if I wasn't nervous, I'd be foolish because it's the first time we've ever done this. So I'm a little bit nervous, but mostly just really excited. It's getting so close now. It's feeling very real. So
I would echo those same things. Nervous, excited. I'm all right now. We're prepping, so I almost feel like I'm in that like nesting phase. I'm like, do I have all my things, and are they packed up? Are we, the like go bag before you go to the hospital and have a baby? That's what it feels like.
I was thinking about that too. Like you're ready to have a baby. You're heading out. The baby is the Rebelle Rally.
Well, and
No, actually, I was going to say the baby's more like a giant Infiniti QX80.
it is giant.
one happy family.
But yeah, you're going to be running this. You're going to be doing the rally in an extreme luxury vehicle. Do they modify it in any way for this?
They did. They didn't do like crazy modifications to it, but they did do some. They've given it a lift. They gave it some steel bumpers and some rock rails. They've done stuff inside to hold tires for us. They're like building a little tire cage to hold our spares. You have a winch on the front of it and new shocks. But nothing, it's not like it's this super tricked out, crazy off-road vehicle now. It was, minor things in the grand scheme that they did just to make sure. I mean, it's a 10-day race, we got to carry everything we need with us. But yeah, so a few things here and there.
Well, it's a very capable vehicle to start with. And so it sounds like if they modified the shocks, they might have had to modify the air suspension that it normally has, because it normally has that I can't remember what they call it, but Infiniti has a name for it.
Right.
It keeps the ride really, really steady when you're driving every day.
You might be right, and that didn't specifically come up in the list. But you might be right. They may have had to modify that. Oh, and the other thing, of course, they put skid plates on the bottom because we're driving over rocks and that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's good. I want to know for both of you, what is it about the Rebelle that made you want to compete in it? And I'll start with Alice and then Nicole, so we don't step on each other.
Okay. Well, both Nicole and I have covered the event in previous years as media. For me, getting to see the competitors and meet the women who are competing was amazing for me and very, very inspiring. When you see them out there, in the desert, they're very, very competitive. But then at base camp in the evenings, you see them encouraging each other, and they're very compassionate. And I think that balance is what we strive to be as women. So it's an honor to get to say that you're a rebel.
Yeah, and for me, I attended 2 years as media, and it was really neat to see I was there. So I saw the beginning of it one year, like the first half, and sort of saw like the last piece of it the second year. And to see how much the teams change and what they go through and sort of the bonding just of the teams themselves and then all the other teams with each other, it was neat. And to see how hard it is for everyone and how much you sort of have to just, pull yourself up and get through some tough stuff. That the challenge of doing that, it was a challenge. That was for me what made me want to do it.
Kristen interviewed Emmy last year.
Yeah.
And it was it was just really interesting because, to start off, she's already an interesting person, and then she's constantly on the go. Like, she does not slow down for anything. And so listening to her and the way she described it, she said a lot of the same things where they were, they would stop and at the end of the day, or they would, nobody would sit around and say, my navigator totally screwed this up. There wasn't any of that kind of stuff. It was a lot of of goodness, uplifting, happiness. And so actually that brings a question: which one of you is going to navigate, or do you swap? Do you go back and forth?
Sure. So I'll be navigating this year. And different teams do it different ways. Some share duties and responsibilities. Others do more like what Nicole and I have done and designate one driver and one navigator. And I think for us, we decided that was going to allow us to be really excellent at the thing that we were doing and know that really well. But we, as we went to a training a week ago, 2 weeks ago, time doesn't seem to make sense anymore.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. It's very important that we still understand the other role, so that we can know and help your teammate.
What is it about Infiniti that makes them a great match for the Rebelle?
I think what makes Infiniti neat is you don't think of, like, who thinks I'm going to go off-road, I'm going to take an Infiniti? Like, nobody. That's not what people typically think of it. Oh, except for Aaron.
Except for Aaron.
I'm trying to make a point, Aaron. But most people don't think of going off-road in Infiniti. And it has the capability to do it, but you sort of think, well, it's a luxury vehicle. I'm not going to do that with this gorgeous, plush luxury ride. But you can. And I think that's what makes the Rebelle a good fit. It sort of shows that, yes, you can take a luxury SUV off-road, and we're going to prove it. So I think that's why it's kind of neat that Infiniti decided to do this.
So I think it's really, like, for us as a team, it's really symbolic too of just who we are as women, that a lot of times people don't think we're underestimated for things, and we are more capable than we're given credit for a lot of the time. So this is a fun way to prove both.
So I'm a big fan of rally, so especially World Rallycross, things like that. And all the teams, when you watch the in-cab cameras, I don't know if you'll have one, but when they do the in-cab cameras, the teams always have like this code. So there's a Scottish team where the navigator will say things like "be brave," and that means really push it down. You can make this one fast. Or don't be a hero, and that means slow down because we're, and then have you guys worked out a code that you're going to be using?
I don't think we've worked out a code, but if Alice starts yelling things at me, I'm going to listen.
I kind of like, I might take some of those phrases you just mentioned. Those were pretty fun. We definitely have phrases, I think, that break the tension. Secret though, we won't reveal it.
Yeah.
You gotta have
They're
that.
on the DL.
Yeah. And conflict resolution is, I would imagine, part of this whole process as well, because you're going to be in a very stressful situation. You've never been out here. You don't know exactly where you are, and you're going to be navigating with the aid of 0 digital devices, which, I mean, I haven't done that since I learned how to read a Rand McNally map, right? And it's not quite the same when you're off-roading. So, like, how do you stay calm? Like, what are going to be your secrets to staying calm and staying on course?
I think a lot of it, when we were doing our training 2 weeks ago, there were some stressful moments just in that. And I think a lot of it is just sort of learning to take a deep breath, like literally take a deep breath and just center yourself for a second and calm down. And also to know that this isn't a race for speed. This is a navigation rally. We don't have to be the first one anywhere. We just need to hit the checkpoints we need to hit. So taking an extra second and saying, look, we're stressed, we're confused, we don't know what's going on, stop. Just take a minute, talk to each other, figure out where we are, and then move forward, rather than just like plowing forward frantically and getting ourselves more lost, more confused.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So what sort of, if you can walk us through, what sort of training have you done and will you be doing before this starts? Both formal, like they bring you in and they show you things, and informally, just you at home or together on the phone, or however you can work that out. What kind of training are you doing?
So I think this year has been very different than what we had anticipated when we agreed to partner to do this. We've been doing a lot of things at home. The Rebelle took a lot of their Rebelle U things that they would do in person and put them online. So we've been doing those for several months, lots of studying at home. 2 weeks ago, we were able to go in person and do some actual terrain type training. Nicole, I'll let you kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so we took a stock QX80 out there into the sand dunes. So not with better tires, not with skid plates, not with anything modified. So literally did it in a stock QX80. So there's your proof. But so we did that training, and that kind of gave us a feel for the car and let us spend some time with that vehicle. I mean, I've driven off-road. I've done lots of off-road driving just on my own and at automaker events, but not in the QX80. So that was time for us to do that, and also to work on our navigation and communicating about that. And that was like 4 days that we spent out there. We'd hoped to do more, but 2020, things that were happening aren't happening. Opportunities to train went poof. So, talking to a lot of people too. I mean, getting feedback from people like Emmy Hall and talking to other folks, I'm curious about this, I'm curious about that. What kind of tips, what kind of information can you give me? And that's been super helpful too.
Besides Emmy.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, besides Emmy, do you have any other role models that have been helping you or inspiring you?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, Alice, I'll let you, Alice.
All right, I think there is some camaraderie to being a Rebelle, and the community that's there, past participants, those that even are competing this year, they're great to help you and encourage you and share tips and things that were helpful to them. I'm sure everybody has their like trade secrets that they keep close, but most everything they're like, no, you need this, or this is what worked for us. So that's been really helpful. As far as like heroes kind of thing, I mean, Emily Miller will always have my heart. I think she's the most amazing, person there. But we both, last year, we covered, for one team, Rachel Radner is incredible.
She is.
Yeah. So anyone that you can think of specifically, Nicole?
I think, really the other teams, even just attending as media, you develop a relationship with some of these women in these teams because you're just excited for them to do well. And even though I haven't, they only know me as media, not as a competitor, I look up to what they've done and to how gracefully they handle getting through the rally, having problems with their cars or problems getting lost. They just plug through. And then in the evening, everyone's back at camp. And like you were saying, Erin, it's never, oh, my driver screwed up or my navigator, had us driving in circles. It's always a real sense, especially for teams who may have had trouble. It's like, yay, you guys are here. You did it. You made it. That's awesome. So there's just this overall sense of support. So I look at a lot of the teams and a lot of the women there sort of as role models, even though it's not like I'm directly contacting them to ask them questions about the race.
Awesome. So back to the training thing, have you done things like physical training, like practicing tire changes, working with the tools that you'll have to carry, Rocky Balboa kind of stuff, lifting big rocks or whatever? Anything like that?
I have not been practicing. Yeah, I haven't been lifting rocks or running up steps in Philadelphia or anything. But no, I haven't. We actually are going to have a little time with the people who are doing the mods on the car to kind of go over some of the things they did to make sure we know what's going on there. I know how to change a tire. I've done tire changes on the side of the interstate with cars whizzing by at 90 miles an hour. So, I know how to change a tire. They've mounted them in the back, so it's not something, because they're normally under in the QX80, and that won't work if you're like in the sand or whatever.
Right.
But, and just trying to get all the equipment that I need, the random bits and pieces, and, watching some videos about ways to avoid doing damage and doing things to the car, as well as how to fix things if I do.
And what's it been like
you
driving?
Can't buy your equipment just off the airport, like on the way there?
What's that?
You can't just grab your equipment at the airport on the way there. Just stop at the airport store and grab some chapstick and you're good to go.
Yeah, who knew they don't have like tire repair kits at the duty free in the airport? It's bizarre.
So
Sorry,
what's it like driving
Kristen.
in the snow, in the sun, in the snow, in the sand is what I was going to say. Because I remember Sue Mead said that driving in the sand was kind of like driving in the snow. What did you think?
You know what? It is a lot to a point. It is a lot like driving in the snow. I mean, you can get that sense of anyone who's driven in the snow, you know, when you're riding through it, and then you know suddenly when you're just riding into it, and it's like, oh, that's a bigger snowbank than I thought. And you can feel how the wheels kind of bog down and things get almost heavy, and you know that you're driving in snow. And if you get too much in front of you, you know that you're sort of plowing snow. Well, some of the same things are true of driving in sand. You're trying to drive on top of it, not sink down into it. And you can feel when your wheels start to get down there a little bit. And you can feel when you're sort of plowing sand forward in front of you, and you know you need to sort of correct and get yourself out of that so that you're riding on top and not digging into it.
Erin, go ahead. I don't want to step on your next question.
No, I don't have one yet.
Okay, I have a question. And that is, do you have a soundtrack for your Rebelle?
That's going to be Alice. I feel like Alice is the music girl.
I do like I'm a big fan of like New Music Friday. I don't know if we've ever talked about that, Nicole, but yeah. We've talked a lot about driving music and what we like. I think we've both we're both pretty good with country when things get stressful, maybe. Sometimes the energy of like newer music it's too much, and there'll be times where we'll just have to turn it off. There'll be times where we don't have signal. So we're trying to figure out the workaround, I think, for that too. Because 10 days in a vehicle, like we all have a lot of stories, and we'll be very intent on the road ahead and the maps in front of us and all of that. But I'm sure at some point we'll need a break.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're finished, I'm going to want to know what
suggested playlist.
Yeah, send us a playlist, Erin. We'll play the Erin playlist through the rally.
It'll be really interesting, I'm sure.
It'll be pretty hardcore.
If you like a lot of screaming. Yeah. Don't play that when you're lost. You'd be like,
I did send a song this morning to Kristen that would be perfect for you to play when you get like a flat tire or something. The song's name is literally Not Safe for Work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not suitable.
All the lyrics are one word.
I think that you're going to emerge from this Rebelle Rally with a theme song, and you're going to feel so victorious and accomplished, and just finishing, I think, is so impressive. So I am excited to see not how you do, but how you feel about it when you're finished. You know, no matter where you finish in the order, it's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I think we're both pretty excited about that. You know, we want to get through the whole thing, learn from it, and grow from it. So I'm excited to do the rally itself, but I am excited to see like, okay, where am I emotionally, mentally at the end of this thing, you know, and see how it changes me. Because I think it's impossible for something not like this to not change you at least a little bit, hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure.
When I first saw the announcement that you guys were doing this, and I saw this picture behind me with some others, so the two of you standing in front of that QX80, the first thing I thought of was the two of you in that QX80 flying through the sand at like 100 miles an hour, pulling up window to window with another vehicle, and Nicole handing cupcakes across.
Yeah, so like what they have for like, what is it, Rolls Royce's Gray Poupon, my thing would be cupcakes. I don't know that I'd be doing the swap at 100 miles an hour, Erin, but that swap could happen.
Pardon me, do you have any red velvet cupcakes?
I'll link to that. We did an entire show just on cupcakes and cars.
Yeah.
They were delicious.
Cupcakes are tasty.
Thank you guys a lot for coming on, Alice and Nicole. That was really cool, and wish you a lot of luck. It's going to be a really cool event, and we'll watch it beginning to end, and we'll try to follow up with you afterwards. Find out what happened, and let people know what was going on, and what you thought was awesome, and what you probably could have done without. It'll be cool.
Yep, we're proud of you, and we are going to be rooting for you and watching you as you go.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it's been great.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for watching.
This has been the Drive Mode Show.